All right, welcome back. And today we're going to be talking about number lines and absolute values. So, number lines, great way to organize data. So, we're going to play around with those here, and pretty easy day. All right, so the first thing we need to be able to do is just be able to find the distance between two numbers on the number line. So, the easiest way to do this, so it'll work every time, is that if we um, take the absolute value of the difference of the two numbers. So what that means is we're going to take the absolute value, get my pen to work. So get the absolute value of -9 minus -3, the difference, and then we take the absolute value. So two negatives there, remember that means plus. So really what we have here is -9 plus 3. And then we can do -9 plus 3 and we get -6. And the absolute value means that the number always will be positive. That means the distance from 0. So the distance between these 2 points is 6. All right, so we're ready to do the same thing with the next example. We want to take the absolute value. It doesn't matter what order we put the values in. We can get the same answer either way. So I'm going to put the second number first here. So 6 minus -7, just to show you that it doesn't matter what way we go with this. So two negatives again mean plus. So we have 6 plus 7. Well, and then 6 plus 7 is the absolute value of 13. Well, the absolute value of 13 is 13. So we know these two numbers are -7 and 6 are 13 units away from each other on the number line. So the next thing we need to be able to do is just determine which number is bigger or smaller. Now, in all honesty, using a calculator makes the most sense for these problems, but we will do them by hand here. But if we type a fraction into a calculator and convert to a decimal, that makes it way simpler to find, which one is larger or smaller. But if we take a look at A here, we look at our denominators there. We got 36 and 24. So I'm going to work this guy completely out and see how we do with it. So 36, and 24, we need to find the least common denominator. So if you remember how we did that, I'm going to do the prime factorization. I got to switch back to my pen here. My prime factorization of 36. 36 is 2 times 18. 18 is 2 times 9. And 9 is 3 times 3. So 24. So that gives us what? 2 times 12. 12 is 2 times 6. 6 is 2 times 3. So now we just have to take the biggest powers of each number. So notice for 2's, we need 3 of them. So I'm going to write it up here, 2 to the third. And then for our 3's, we need 2 of them. So that'd be 3 squared. So 2 to the third is 8. And then 3 squared is 9, so 8 times 9 is 72. So that's our least common denominator for this problem. So what that means is we have to multiply the numerator and denominator of the first fraction by 2 to make it 72. And that's going to give us, 46 over 72. And then we do the same thing for 15 24ths. So for 15 24ths, we need to multiply the top and bottom by 3 here to make the 24 72. So 15 times 3 is 45 over 72. So now we can see that the fraction 23/36 is the largest fraction. We could tell that too by typing in the calculator and converting them to decimals very, very quickly as well. We should be able to find common denominators. All right, so with this next example, notice that second fraction is actually a mixed number. So what we're going to want to do is get that into an improper fraction. So remember, we take the whole number out in front here. We got -1. So -1 times the denominator is 8. So that's -8. And then we got to tack our 3 onto there. So 8 plus 3 would be 11. So we'd have -11 11 thirds would be our improper fraction. So now, looking at this, hopefully we don't have to work out the least common denominator here, because we do. I don't know why I wrote 3 there. That should be an 8. That's an 8, sorry. So we have negative 11 eighths. So we need to find the least common denominator. You might be able to look at this and say, I know what our denominator should be. To me, it looks like it's going to be 24. But again, let's work it out. So we have 12. 12 is 2 times 6. 6 is 2 times 3. 8 is 2 times 2 times 2, 2 to the third. So that means our least common denominator is going to be 2 to the third times 3. So 2 to the third times 3. So that is 24. So we know our common denominator needs to be 24. So we're going to take the negative 17 twelfths and multiply it by 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top. So that gives us what? Negative 34 24ths. So now we do the same thing here for our negative 11 eighths. So negative 11 eighths. We got to multiply this one by 3 though to make it 24. So we can see that we're going to have negative 33 24ths. So which one is bigger? Right? So this would be the least negative, so this would be the bigger of the two numbers in that situation. Not bad, right? All right, so here, pretty easy problems, especially A there. So we got to determine which one of these is smaller. So if we go through this and look, notice we need to compare our decimal values. So we have a 4 and a 10 spot. It's kind of hard for me to write on here, but there's the 4, 4, 2, 2. All right, so we got a different value here. This one is a 1 and this one is a 3. So since this one is the smaller value right here, that means this guy is our smaller number. All right, so the next one, same thing, but notice they're negative. So we're looking for the more negative value. So we start off for 10's value, they both have an 8, and then they both have a 7, and they both have a 2. All right, so here's our differing values. We got a 6 and a 9. So since it's negative, this number here is the more negative, so that one would be the smaller value. All right, so this one we've got a fraction. We could just type it in the calculator, but again, I'm going to do it by hand. So if we want to figure out what this value is, we just need to do some long division as a decimal. So I'm going to do 12 divided by 5. Well, obviously we're going to have to put a 0 here. So how many times does 12 go into 50? 4 times, right? Hopefully I can make all this fit. That is a 4. So that gives us 48. So we subtract now, and that gives us a 2. So now I'm going to bring down my next 0. How many times does 12 go into 20? It goes in once. So I'm going to have 20 minus 12, and I get 8. So now I got to bring another 0 down. Oops. Yeah. Now it won't go away. There we go. Got too close to the edge. All right. So now you say, well, 80. How many times does 12 go into 80? Looks like 6. So we're going to multiply. That's a 6. I am very sorry for the horrible handwriting. So it's 1272. So when we subtract this, we're going to get 8 again. So that means that this is going to be, we're just going to keep getting 6 over and over again. So this is 0.416, where the 6 repeats forever. So we have to determine which one's smaller. Well, when the 6 repeats forever, that means that makes this number a little bigger. So this would be the smaller of the two numbers. But again, the calculator will make really short work of all of this. All right, so we got a fun problem here. And again, we could convert these to decimal values and see which one is the middle number, because that's what the median means. But we're going to look at this and work it all out by hand. So hopefully when you guys look at this, we've been using these numbers today. Our least common denominator here would be 24 for all these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert them all to fractions to have the common denominator 24. So I'm going to start off with this first guy here, 7/12. That means I have to multiply the numerator and denominator by 2 to make it a 24. So that would give me a 14 over 24. So the second one, we got to multiply 8 by 3 to make it 24. So we'd have to multiply the 5 by 3 and get 15 over 24. So let's go to the third one. 1/2. Well, that'll be easy, right? Multiply everything by 12. 12 24ths. And we got fourth one is already in that, so we got 13 24ths. And then the fifth one, 2/3. We got to multiply the numerator and denominator by 8 to make that denominator 24. So 2 times 8 is 16. 3 times 8 is 24. So now we can arrange them from smallest to largest. So we can see that number 3 should go first, right? 1/2. That's the smallest fraction. Then the next smallest one would be the 13 24ths, which would be the one that we didn't have to reduce. And then we got 14 24ths, which is the first one. So first fraction would be 7/12. Then 15 24ths is number 2, which is 5/8. And then the last one is 16 24ths, which is 2/3. So our middle value is 7/12. So that is our median. So in your assignment today, you're going to be working with taking the absolute value of numbers, basic calculations with absolute value, and you're going to do some practice with finding the biggest, smallest number. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you're online during the time that we are live to discuss any issues. Hope you guys are having a great day.